Mutant Python.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Raven Coding. I recently set up my Raspberry Pi to run RetroPie and installed a bunch of emulators and ROMs on it for tons of different systems, Nintendo, Sega, arcade, and I noticed that almost all of these systems had my favorite game on them. And my favorite game has always been Tetris. I've loved it since I was little. When I first had my Game Boy, it was the original Game Boy that came with Tetris, and I played it all the time. Anyway, I decided to play all these different versions of Tetris and compare them. One night, after playing way too much Tetris, I found myself lying awake in bed, thinking about how all those situations where I was given a particular piece, either an L-shaped piece or an S-shaped piece of one orientation, and I needed the other orientation. And something struck me, and I thought, what if in Tetris you could not just rotate the pieces, but also flip them or transform them vertically and horizontally? What kind of a difference would that make? Would the game be less stressful? Would it be easier? Would it be more enjoyable? Well, there's only one way I knew how to figure that out, and it's to make a version of Tetris where you can rotate the pieces and flip the pieces vertically and horizontally. Now, one thing I like to do when I'm just testing something out, instead of writing it from scratch, I just like to grab someone else's code and tweak a few things. So I wanted to start off with a very bare, basic version of Tetris, as basic as it gets, so I could make it my own. And I found this version by Kevin Chbosky. It's one of Kevin's earlier versions that doesn't include very many features. Let's go ahead and run it so you can see what I mean. As you can see, it's very basic, no level system, no points, nothing but just basic Tetris on the slowest speed. And the rotation's a bit wonky, but nothing I can't fix. So with a few adjustments, this will be perfect. So the very first thing I did is add some sweet 8-bit music from opengameart.org, because Tetris without music is boring. Then I modified the Tetris matrices for each of the blocks to make it so they could be rotated around a central point instead of being all wibbly-wobbly. And then I made it so you can not just rotate them clockwise, but you can also rotate them counterclockwise. I updated the collisions and created a border around the edge so the zero cells of the matrices don't get messed up. I added leveling so you can level up now. There's the border around the edge for collisions so you can't go off the screen. I made it so it draws a fantasy title. Updated the graphics a bit. Made it so it runs on Python 3. The other one didn't seem to run properly because it had some old functions in there. Added a sweet Tetris animation for when you get a Tetris. Added an instant fall function. And I added a thing that draws the next shape and keeps track of your score and puts all that graphical stuff on there, and updated the look of the blocks, added joystick support. There you can see added joystick support. And with all those things added, I think it's greatly improved. And the end result of all of that work is a perfectly serviceable version of Tetris written in Python. And you can see that the piece now rotates around the center instead of being all wibbly wobbly. Okay, let's see how it performs. Gotta love those long pieces. Okay. I'm using an Xbox 360 controller right now. It works alright, other than the fact that the controller is a bit old, so the responsiveness is kind of terrible on it. Alright, let's see if we can get a Tetris. Ooh, you can see that beautiful Tetris animation. And when it levels up, it changes the music. I always found it a bit monotonous that most versions of Tetris just have one song playing. The songs that I chose are a bunch of songs I got on opengameart.org. A lot of them were done on the Commodore 64, on the SID chip, which is what gives it that classic 8-bit sound. So it's basically Tetris, nothing special about it. Alright, but now let's see what happens if we change up a few things. Alright, so to make it so I can transform the pieces or flip them horizontally and vertically, I went ahead and I created these two definitions, these two functions. The first one, for transforming each of the pieces vertically, is fairly simple. So each tetrad, each tetromino, is a two-dimensional matrix in a list. So all this does is it goes through each of the Y rows of the list and it swaps them around. It's pretty simple. The horizontal flip is a little bit difficult, a little bit more difficult, but still pretty easy. So all I had to do here is create a new list and then go through the list that has the information for the piece, and then flip each individual row and then save that in a new list. Pretty simple. Now, I made a counter that shows how many times I use this feature, so let's see how useful this is when playing Tetris. So there on the right you can see flips. This is how many times I'm flipping it. Okay, so flipped it once. See how the counter's gone up. Oh, one short of a Tetris? Seriously? So my hope is, having added this feature will make Tetris a little bit less stressful and more relaxing of a game to play. But as you can see, it still has that feature that we're constantly waiting for Constantly waiting for the long pieces. And there we go, Tetris. Yay! So there are really only two shapes that you need to flip at all, and those are the L shapes and the S shapes. The other ones aren't useful at all to flip. I'm really flipping them more than I need to, just to see, flipping them as much as I think will make the game easier, to see how useful the feature is. I flipped that, I keep flipping that wrong way. It takes a little bit to get used to the fact you can flip the pieces, but once you do, I think it makes the game quite a bit more relaxing. Whether you want Tetris to be more relaxing or not, I'm not sure. A lot of people love the adrenaline that games give them, and Tetris is very good at doing that for being a simple puzzle game. Right, I'm going to try to get as many Tetrises as possible to get up levels quickly. Because Tetrises are worth more lines than regular lines. And we'll see how many flips I get once I get pretty high in levels and lose, I guess? See how far I can get with this feature, I suppose. That's what I will do. Oh, I almost didn't get one. That would have been tragic. Oh no. not a good situation. See, and you still get caught in those situations where you really need a long piece if you're going for a Tetris. Oh, I almost blew it. Not quite a Tetris, but it'll have to do. Oh crap, what was that? Oh, I screwed myself over there. Fancy Tetrising. Oh no. Get rid of some of these rows. Oh, of course. I get one when I... It's annoying. Such is life. Finally. I just made the same mistake again. No, what am I doing? No. Okay. Oh, that was an epically terrible move. There is a little bug in it where if you get too close to the side, you can't flip the piece. I need to fix that. Good enough. Oh, crap. Did not act quickly enough. No! Oh crap. Alright, I made it to level 5, which is not very good for me. And I did 43 flips. Now, whether or not that improved my gameplay at all or not, it definitely didn't. I usually make it to level 9 at least. But it definitely makes the game a little bit less stressful because you're not thinking, oh, I wish this piece were in the other orientation. Anyway, let me know what you think about this version of Tetris, and that's all I have for today.